the scene, it's your host TTP. We're flying high in the crypto sky, you and me. From Bitcoin rush to Ethereum, we trading all the coins with the trading parity, making that joyful noise. We got bots, we got plots, charts on the big screen. 3 comments to wick, hunter with a trading machine. Laughing all the way to the bank, it's a fun parade. With every trade we made, watch how we get paid. TTP's got the formula, flipping coins like a spatula. In the crypto game, with the vernacular, spectacular. From the morning to the night, we're streaming with the light, trying to trading parallel. We'll teach you how to fight. Dive into the charts, the RSI, liquidity at a glance, trends on the rise. We never leave it up to chance. All trading Ganium, tools of the champion breed. With AI and math, we're planting the money seed. Laugh with us, trade with us, ain't no looking back. You're with the parrot now, leading the pack. Alpha profits, snap plus with the crypto law. TTP's on the mic and he's ready to soar. TTP's on the mic and he's ready to soar. TTP's got the formula, flipping coins like a spatula. In the crypto game with a vernacular, spectacular. From the morning to the night, we're streaming with the light. Join the trading parallel. We'll teach you how to fight. Dive into the charts.
Hello guys, welcome to the Train Parrot and welcome to another live stream. Today we are gonna cover Bitcoin, and of course the primary goal of this video is to do TA of altcoins. This is your opportunity to let me know which altcoins you want me to do TA on. If you want an in-depth analysis of Bitcoin, there is this video I published 2 hours ago, is 40 minutes. I hope that's enough information on Bitcoin. So we're gonna basically catch up with what's going on with the price of Bitcoin, but after maybe 5 minutes we start immediately taking requests. And I remind you that the first people that request coins are gonna be the first ones that we're gonna review. So probably we're gonna be starting with Avalanche, Near, GALA, and SUI, and then I'm gonna keep scrolling down until I see your own request. So be quick, be the first, so you get your coin review before. Hit the like, subscribe, and all of that. That helps the channel definitely. So let's have a very quick look at what's going on with the pricing here. And since I published the video 2 hours ago, not much I'm seeing. Let me see. We were talking about 112.5, that there was the equilibrium. There's also open interest accumulated in this area from high block capital. I remember we saw that. Let me show it to you live in here. So we still don't hit that level of 100 and, well, let me refresh this. Maybe we did that already. Yeah, we hit it. So we hit that open interest of that band. Let me magnify it and you can see it there. So that in blue is an area where open interest increased a lot. So price comes back into those areas as a magnet. The next one is around 110, 111 maybe. Yeah, it coincides with this low there. That could be the next stop if we continue going lower, because if we go lower, we are going somewhere, right? We are clearing out the excessive delta, the levels of where the open interest spiked and increased too dramatically. And yesterday was a positive day for coins and Bitcoin. Today, not so much. It's kind of the day of the decision between actual pullback before continuation to upside, or if we are really gonna go for the CME gap or for the 107 short-term realized price slash the biggest liquidity pool in the past 3 months. It's that one that we are seeing now on the screen. So having said all of this, if you have any specific questions on Bitcoin, you can also ask them in the live chat. Definitely do so before the rest of the people put questions, because we only have 1 hour to cover everything. So I'm hoping that we can cover all of them. So I'm gonna start with TA now. I'm gonna flip topic. Let me see. I'm not missing any request here. Can we get Sand and Mana? Ooh. I haven't done that in a long time. Let's go into my altcoin window. Let's go with Mana first. And we got Mana. Yeah, I've done it in a while ago, but I haven't covered it. It hasn't done much, really. So you can see what is the kind of pattern on Mana on the weekly time frame. You get long extended periods of downside on the RSI, typically right after an impulsive wave. So here we have a single impulsive wave, then here we have two, one, it doesn't matter, but once you reach a certain level, you can see that there is a sustained decline and bore. um, where are we now? We are kind of just going sideways. I don't think we have had such an impulsive wave yet. It's just, like a channel like this, similar to where you are here, I will say. So, um, and price action is also trading around the bottom of the range. Let me see. So I drew this channel a long time ago and we keep respecting it. Resistance is 0.8, support is around 25. You can see the most traded area is around 32, and we're just roughly just swinging there, not making any decision. So if we really wanted some confirmation of a breakout, well, let me do better TA, because those erratic lines are not making any sense. So we had a breakout, right? And that already failed and it came back down in here. So if we say, well, that wasn't a failure, the fact is that this was the pivot. And I will say that's the case. On Mana, 16th of June is the pivot low. We had a hidden bullish bearish divergence. And currently we are right at support on the weekly RSI at 46. So hopefully this holds. In the future, of course, if we get that impulsive wave in here, you're going to look at this and you're going to say, how come I was so stupid that I didn't see that? It happens to me sometimes. Um, that is at price support and it's also at weekly RSI support. In terms of longs versus shorts, there's been a decline of 3 weeks of longs going out from here, leaving the longs from the top of the range. Actually, the first band of the percentile. Socials are very quiet, as quiet as it gets from, let's say, from 2023. That level is the lowest, this is the lowest, and where we are is the lowest, and we are at support. So I think it's not in a bad position to maybe dip your toes if you are on cash, but if you already invested on this breakout in here, you probably are getting very bored. But think about all the people that traded those ranges. It's still a long time to wait, and a lot of bleeding before you hit support and something happens. Hopefully, guys, hopefully this rally, if we get a rally, we don't only do 200% just to hit the resistance at 75 to 80. Hopefully we're going to exit from there, and if we do, there is a vacuum in here that declines from $1 into roughly 2.5. So ideally we go into this 2.8 and we hold it and we really have some bull market for Mana. Now, I'm not an expert at all in fundamentals and specifically on Decentraland. I have no clue if they are really sustained fundamentals to support a move, such a move up. But I will say we got higher lows, higher highs. There's kind of a very, very quiet parallel channel in here on the, I don't know if you can see it, but the lows are respecting this ascending channel, and the highs, they're kind of around here. So that is kind of your channel. So if you're looking, for areas of distribution, if we get there, that should be around the percentile or slightly higher. I wouldn't aim for 91. I will aim for maybe 70s, because also this is declining now. So I will aim for this descending line. Yeah, the PNR 70, 71. That is where I would like to distribute this coin. If not, continue just to wait, or take the loss because it's not really doing that great. Right. The next one, apart from mana, is sand. Let's have a look at it. Oh, this looks very similar. This looks too similar. Why? Let me see. This one is called, I think it's called the Sandbox or something like this. Well, anyways, I don't know anything about this coin, but I'm just too suspicious I'm reviewing the same coin. Let's go back to the previous one. Look at that. Ah, no, it's got three tops, but they are precisely at the top. They are pretty coupled, these two coins. They must be doing something very similar, but that's what the price action says. They are all in bear market territory, and they really need to escape. In this case, the range is 84. So I'm going to keep it short because I suspect that they are the same. People keep requesting. Someone can clarify what's the relation between sand and mana. Are they same thing, or are they just in the same ecosystem doing the same things? So I'm going to skip this one. I'm just going to leave it there. And what's the next one? An hour ago. Please do ASTER. ASTER, I'm going to have to drop the time frame to 4 hour. Okay, so you can see that since it was listed on September, it made to the highs of 24th of September, and it already had a bearish divergence, and that bearish divergence was calling for a channel down, which is what we currently have in here. Now, this channel down, to me, because it's getting squashed, you see that both lines are pointing to each other, and we are kind of respecting so far this cool break now, because that is more or less where we have support. Support is more or less at 1.74, so we are slightly below that support. There is this high in here. Okay, so there's this other line there in the trading range, and the next level is this high of volume at 1.5. So we could lose that level and make it to 1.5. Ideally, that touches this level of 34 on the RSI, and that could provide a decent swing with better risk reward. So if you are a degen, you can take it from here, but I will think that it's better to wait at the very least for 1.5. I like to shop my coins, and I don't like to just enter at any point. If I don't get the opportunity and the thing starts rallying, it's not that I was wrong, it's I was right. I just took the right risk reward. Okay, and not because the thing rallies you were wrong. You always need to be picky with the amount of risk reward, and I think there is better risk reward at 1.516, because that is this support of the double bottom, and maybe we can build a higher low from there in the context of a descending wedge that pinches the last line of support. So that last line of support could potentially be not just another swing into resistance. This could be, if you get lucky, the beginning of another rally. And that's what I mean by being better risk to reward. Yeah, you can do it from there if you can stomach a little bit of downside if you're wrong too. So that's for ASTER, and I'm gonna cover the next one, which is AVAX. So on AVAX, let's increase the time frame again. So we had in here a pretty decent large bullish formation with a neckline at 27, and we broke out, and we were calling for getting into 40. We haven't done that, and we retrace all the progress from 27 into 36. We couldn't make it to 39, $3 away, and we got a rejection. That is courtesy of Bitcoin taking the dip during the weekend in the past price action. We recently been let me pick more carefully what I'm gonna say. So I want the price action to defend $27. If we bounce strongly from 27 on Avalanche, we might be able to defend the breakout weekly. And I think there was another coin, maybe Solana had a similar setup with a breakout weekly like this, a global one. Notice that Avalanche already had an initial breakout here. So it's been doing a lot of progress. It went all the way to resistance. It broke resistance. So with this retracement, what we are seeing is that the weekly closed right at the support of the retest. But intra-candle, we are inside. So this week, if we reclaim back up, if we can make this RSI point up, which comes with this price action holding 27 and slightly going higher, maybe to 31, 32 to get this to point up. At that point, we are pretty much saying, yeah, the bears couldn't manage to push it below 27. Of course, manage your risk as usual, but that could be better indication that the breakout is about to confirm continuation into where? Well, initially into 39, because that was the initial target, but later we could get into 50 because that is the descending highs in the weekly time frame. Notice that Avalanche, although in terms of fundamentals should be a great coin, still I haven't heard anything bad about Avalanche in particular. I just think that it's very tough, the competition out there, but Avalanche has lower lows and lower highs. Okay, so if you're trading this, unless you are a massive fan of Avalanche and you really are convinced that the fundamentals are going to take you anywhere further from 50, I will take it very cautiously as we approach that level. On your favor, at the end of the cycles, topping year, after Bitcoin finds the final top, these sort of coins do amazing things. Think about the all-time high. This was on the 22nd of November. So many coins did the all-time high even later than that, even in January. And they were having some massive dead cat bounces, like completely nonsense. So maybe if Bitcoin gets into 130, maybe Avalanche is going to do something better. It's already indicating a breakout in that sense. Let's go with the next one. CPR didn't touch top or bottom. What will happen in this case? Another sideways? Okay, I understand the question. I think this is to do with, let's see if I can find it. The model of CPR talks about what happens in the next month right after you touch either green or red. Translated, that means the first resistance or the first support. Okay, and it says in this month you touch resistance, so therefore we should have in September touch 119.337. But so far we haven't, and we're just hours away, I think 10 hours away from closing the month. And if in 10 hours we cannot get there, that forecast that we couldn't achieve puts things in a slightly more bearish perspective from the point of view of CPR. So that is saying that in this month, in September, we should have touched the support at 102. And that's why in 10 hours, we need to look at the CPR lines, the actual lines that here I'm just speculating are going to be located there and with that width. And if they are there, in the next month, which is October, we persist that thesis that we should touch once the support, which according to my toddler drawings in here is 103, but we'll see in 10 hours where the actual first support, the red line, is going to be. And if we touch it, that will be in line with what we did in 2024, which I already covered in the video earlier, is to have a 12% retracement in the first 2 weeks of October. We don't have to have that, but it will be in line with what we did the year before. I hope that answers the question, Alex. Near GALA and SUI. Let's go. You see, commenting first is always nice, isn't it? Near is already in progress with the breakout on the weekly. It has had 2 painful retests in here, spanning all the way from the breakout mid-July into 25th of August. So September managed to put a higher high and a higher low in the momentum, but the price action remains trapped below 3.1. So this is what I call a pressure cooker. Okay, at the moment, there is a huge pressure against 3.3. And if the momentum remains up, eventually it's going to push the price outside the trap of this massive volume. That is the most traded volume in all the bull cycles. So that's why it's attracting constantly the price into 2.5. So manage your risk. It could happen once again. But eventually, if we can defend this wave like this, because we are today at support, that's the most bullish one. There can be more bearish support below, of course, at 39. But we are holding the most bullish one, which is 47, and we are doing it at support of 2.5. So that is slightly better risk reward than if you were trying to enter on a long at resistance. We are at support. So if we can break the 3.3, the next resistance comes in at 4.2. And let me challenge that. Yeah, there was resistance, support, support. It's a little bit gray in this area for keeping it, but I'm going to keep it because the volume spikes around the 4, then it spikes around the 5.3. Structurally, near is similar to Avalanche with lower highs and lows. Yeah, lower lows relative to this area here, definitely on the weekly. So again, adjust expectations. There was here a period of very little number of longs. That was the golden entry from 1.9, and then it started expanding. We are kind of in the middle area of longs versus shorts, so it's not that overcrowded, thanks to also longs being hit recently. Socials are low, so it's quiet for this, and that is a nice thing. And let's go with GALA. You're welcome, Alex. And let's see, GALA. Yeah, another coin that is from the previous cycle. In the previous cycle, you are going to find all the channels that you need to unsubscribe in YouTube telling you that you need to invest in GALA and hold it forever, just like Mana and Land and all these coins. I don't think there's anything wrong with those projects, but there's been a shift this cycle between investing in projects that do things, fundamentals, to just trade it, just because there's not enough liquidity to invest on everything. And it's been the cycle of traders, so I'm glad he's flipped to trading mostly. We got a squeeze in here. So higher lows, lower highs, holding support at 0.13. We got kind of the accumulation area in this band from 24 to 14. We have done that multiple times, but every time that we do it, we achieve less, right? So we accumulate, we hit 83. We accumulate, we hit 61. We accumulate for even longer than before. So this is kind of double this accumulation in terms of timing. And we are close to weekly support. Weekly support is slightly below losing this 14 support because it needs to go lower there. And longs are increasing and price is coming down. So there there is a risk of of getting squashed here, the longs, because you can see that they are increasing here. Some have closed, but this low is higher than, for example, that low. No, it's the same, but it's more than this one. So relative to the bear market, we have more longs, but we are at the same price. What that what does it mean that? Well, that there's people underwater, right? That's the meaning. So you could capitulate them by going slightly below support, capitulate them, and then start a rally from lower, or they survive and we start a rally from here. Do I know what's going to happen? Absolutely no. I don't know anything about the future. Otherwise, I will be living in an island, right? But I just trade probabilities and I do it in a very conservative way, and that way works for me, so I can sleep. Uh, yeah. So I will say add support, add a bit on price support, and at RSI support, maybe add a little bit more. But nothing is guaranteed that that's going to hold. Maybe we will start the rally from lower. Just keep in mind these descending highs, because again, for Gala is not looking amazing. Um, yep, and we're gonna do. Can you do NOS in Jupiter? What was the name of this coin in Nosana? Yeah, sure. Oh, guys, you are making me do TA of so many coins that are losing. I have the feeling that a lot of people join this because they are in pain and they want to know what to do with the red bag. Um, right, so RSI made a breakout on 23rd of June and has managed to put a higher high and a higher low so far, defending, not going back into 40s, is holding 47. And price is catching up in here, but it's got 3 weeks in a row going lower. Yeah, but these 3 weeks in a row in the price are not breaking below this resistance. So they're holding there. So we have a potential for this to flip into a bullish structure. And socials are coming in. So people are getting excited with this push there. And we kind of still have some social activity going on. People talking about this move, that move. And so let's see if this can hold 70. And we can still go slightly lower in here with the RSI, even getting to 42, and that's still technically a higher low that could, defend the move up. Remember, if we just aim low, we are aiming just for what is it called, momentum, to come at a low that is higher than these highs. Yeah, and that is aiming low, because sometimes if you just aim for that, the price still puts a low, which disappoints traders that do not pay attention to momentum. Momentum flipping, you want to know, even if price is breaking something. So let the price do a little bit of damage. As long as the momentum is still pointing in certain direction, there is still hope for that thing to carry on up. Not guaranteed. Well, nothing is guaranteed. What do you think? This is trading. Um, yeah, and that could carry on. Next target, I will say that we must have. We already took this liquidity, the 114. So that's gone. That's this support in here, 130. That's gone. That was a big incentive, and we just pinch it slightly there, right there. You can see it. So I will say that if this continues in here, if it gets a hint that it's going to hold the 70, we might go for the next one, which is probably going to be at the 245, because of this neckline. That is the scene of the crime there. And then right after that, if we hit this, then things can turn really a lot more bullish. Um, but I'm not gonna just ride it blindly. This needs to be trailed because of the lower highs. Yeah, so it could do just something small. So be careful with holding this with no protection. Always use protection, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about price action. Let's go with the next one. After Nosana, it was going to be Jupiter. And Jupiter reminds me my times in Paul Baron channel. They always wanted Jupiter. And I always wonder if you guys are asking for Jupiter because you're viewers of the channel of Paul. Jupiter is a weekly support. That is good. We got this low, higher low, and resistance at 67. That is a big resistance. There was a crime in here. We lost that range. We lost the range around the 80, and now we have a new range around the 51 that actually became the biggest range. Longs are breaking down this week in here, but we are right at support as an area of value there that you have in terms of longs. Very little number of longs relative to what you normally have. This is the most bullish support, meaning that you can still break that slightly lower and still be bullish for an entry. And what's the next level of support? It's gonna be tough. Let's say that between these two lows, if that ends up becoming a double bottom, if we need to defend this, definitely we cannot do a lower low there, otherwise we're gonna get a triple bottom. And hopefully we don't pierce. If we pierce, we need to reclaim this. We allow piercing, like 32, we can go into 27 and reclaim 33, and that's bullish. A weekly below close and a weekly above close, that is bullish. This where we are is just higher lows, and that could resume the uptrend of this momentum. It's not an uptrend for the price, guys. It's an uptrend for the momentum. And if we hold this one, we need to be looking into that one, which is 57. And do we have a reverse RSI here? 57. Let's just put that one. Enable. That is the next resistance. So going all the way into this 57 in the channel puts you slightly above the next resistance of 68. At that point, if let me do it correctly because this was 57. Oh yeah, I did 57. Okay, so that's resistance. I will have light that if we go there, we end up going slightly higher than it targets 74. You know what I mean? Because going again against resistance, they could potentially sell off there again. Ideally, this is gonna reclaim that, and then we can get into resistance at 67, and hopefully we get some bullishness coming from there. But this is still a breakout that actually ended up consolidating. The momentum is up, price is consolidating, so it needs really now some impulsive wave. Let's go into the next one. I know you are from Coin Bureau, but since I didn't watch them anymore, okay, from Coin Bureau. Yeah, I got a lot of people that started watching me from Coin Bureau. I lost the coins. Where are they? Nos, we did Jupiter. Did we do SUI? No, we haven't. Let's do SUI. What are you doing there, SUI? You are supposed to go the other way around. Okay. I knew that the third wave was going to be a little bit disappointing, but not that much, right? So the first, second, and the third was already de-inflated. It's kind of in a channel to the downside, price action sideways with slight higher lows. So hopefully this is going to turn eventually into an area of accumulation rather than distribution. Let me have a look at some additional factors. On SUI, we got plenty of things in the green. Big well orders, cooling on the bubbles, taker buy dominant, so people are buying there. Let's see liquidation levels. There you go. Yeah, we are at support on daily as well. and lower low on momentum 2. Yeah, so bulls are defending the support on the daily at $3. um, Let me see what's the likelihood of this failing. Let's throw it like this, and we get a massive flag. uh, yeah, there's a tendency in here. Well, after you get these impulsive waves on SUI, you get all this consolidation, or well, bearish price action. Let's call it for what it is. This one moved 68%. This one moved 46, and so far from high to low, we have moved 31. We have a new low, so we need to adjust that. I'll say there is here from the 3.1 an opportunity to start adding, but you see how much it can extend this thing. So you never know. That could be a first initial opportunity, because then we got incoming some decent liquidations. So we got the $3 and the 2.7 are the biggest one at the moment. So I guess that is the risk, that this bleeds a bit more into the first 2 weeks of October and it doesn't end up respecting that level. So it's not just about saying there is an opportunity, we are at support, but it's also about recognizing and sizing the risk of that failing. What could attract the price slightly lower if things fail, and what could be the plan? Well, the plan could be maybe enter at 3 and then enter a little bit more at 2.7. Below that, there is not much liquidity. There's a 1.5 that I will reserve for bear market, I will say. And let's go with the next one. If you have any specific questions that I didn't cover about a coin, just write down the specific question. I will try to answer it if we can make it. We still have 20 minutes. TA of BMNR. Never heard about BMNR. Sorry. It's here. Oh, I'm not sure I have that. Unless TA on BMNR. I have no clue where that is made, because this is blur. This is banned. So I'm going to skip that. Sorry. You can clarify later. Spatula time. Do you trade any alts or just BTC? I do trade alts. I invested in the bear market and I got rid of many of them already at different prices. I still have a few left to deal with this bull market and then I'm done. I'm not looking to invest in altcoins at this point in time. So what I'm sharing is my opinion on different swing trade setups on the weekly time frame. Let's go with Sys. Wow, guys, you're only showing me charts like this. They are all the same. Syscoin, uh, yeah, lower highs, lower lows, some sort of breakout potentially on the momentum. That retest, and it didn't do anything. So it was pretty much a fake out. That I cannot call this a painful retest. A painful retest is like up and then comes back into the white line, and from there it bounces. This thing is just puking. I have no clue what it does in terms of fundamentals. It's got this final support at 33 and it's trading below this local point of control, which is 42. It lost major support in here, which it shouldn't have done in the bull market, but it did. This move in here was bullish. So at some point, I will say there is a chance that we go into 0.8. There is a chance. It's not guaranteed. I don't know anything. But when you get a bleeding coin, people start getting cocky that if it crash, then they're going to take further shorts, and eventually this guy comes back to the scene of the crime, and smashes all the late shorts. It's just an opportunity, but it will only happen once there is an overcrowded space with shorts on this coin. So what was it called? Sys. We are 78 people, guys. There's no one left in the bull market. It's crazy. So Sys has this liquidity of 43 and below 31. So let me see if with the 43, this is too close to the price. 006, 3 months. Yeah, it's not tracking enough to see the 80. Unfortunately, I cannot see liquidity on that coin. Let's go with the next one. That intro is fire. Let's do Ethena. I don't like this. This is a double top with a strong rejection on beginning of September. Came back to the neckline around 56, and hopefully it's gonna hold at 56, because I think this has the potential. This is the technical target, okay? When I say a technical target, is not a forecast, it's the potential, the embedded in this pattern, like the physics, right? The spring is constrained, how far it could potentially throw the ball, the maximum, if you get lucky. It can go up until 23. So the best scenario in here is to break this, pinch it, liquidity hunt, and continuation. Defending that will be nice because you have a double bottom on this side. So at the moment, it's kind of a battle between the two. You got a bigger double bottom in here, and you got a head and shoulders head and shoulders double top. Longs were forming a cup and handle, but they didn't complete the shape. It stopped at 51 instead of stopping at 56. And the same goes for the price action. It formed the cup and handle, it broke out, it trapped the longs, and it came back down. And then you ask, why do you wait for candle confirmation? Why do you wait for candle close? Yeah, that's a very graphic example of how they can trap you in the middle of the breakout. They just do a slightly higher high there, and then they drag you all the way here. And I can hear the people shouting that enter here, and now they are underwater by 36%. And there is a target of 22. So that's why you need to be careful. Support on the weekly, though, comes at 44. Let's find that support. Let's get to know where it is. It's right there at the neckline of the smaller double bottom. So this could drag you into 42 and to find support at 44, 45. Lots of longs have been squashed. There might be a little bit more, as you can see in here, but we are in an area where we should be looking for longs. The opposite of these people that were doing it at the top, we are looking for longs in between 55 to 42. Possibly, if October becomes bullish in November, there won't be any chance to get that low as the technical target. So be mindful of that too. And I did in a ACH. USDT on Binance. You can see I've never done this one. This is like, again, the paradise of a grid bot. Yeah, it's very erratic. Like, we got this support, it got lost. If you put support like this, yeah, I guess you can do that, but it's a bit like cheating. Let's see if I can do some horizontal support instead. Well, I guess we kind of we kind of started respecting 17, as you can see. There was a move below it, but apart from that, everything is respecting it since then, more or less. And the momentum seems to be bottoming every time we get close to 40, but the momentum to the upside is drying up. um, let's see if we can recognize something. So definitely the 42 is around the resistance. You can see that. It's another coin that just swinging between highs and lows. It hasn't broken out and is just lagging momentum massively. Long are not entering, not exiting, just flat, no activity. And I guess, around these areas or slightly lower, you could take a long and possibly you can get away with some swings. Um, there's apart from this, maybe, yeah, that could be a setup. Let's say, yeah, this is kind of a setup, the squeeze, and you are at support. So maybe from here, building into the narrative of getting into resistance, controlling with a break even at the point, and then from there, seeing if you get lucky to be right at the spot of the actual breakout. And that breakout could just get you in here, or maybe it's going to exit from there. Impossible to tell. The price is not saying anything like really conclusive that there is something incoming super bullish. No, it can still happen. Link. Let's do link. I haven't done a dedicated link video in a while. I need to remember about that. Link, I'm still holding it. And I actually have my link in the exchange looking for exits. I'm looking for exits on link, but I'm not satisfied yet with the price action to close it like this. I think we could get a little bit more with link. Why? Because we have higher lows in here, we have higher highs on the price. Momentum put the first bearish divergence. Yeah, we got a breakdown. I didn't see this one. This is new to me. We were holding that. We broke down, we retest, came back down into 54. We are in the process of losing $19. So next support is 17. We were supposed to have a target into 25, but we did it. We got into 27. And we could say we are in the middle now of a bull flag. Hopefully that's going to break out for continuation. I'm going to be monitoring 38, 47 if we get there. But this breakdown in here, now is going to make things a bit less positive. Because if we didn't break this, I will be looking into that target. I will be looking into 76. But from here, I'm looking into something slightly more disappointing, like 71, like 5 points below. And if you think that that doesn't matter, have a look at what reverse RSI has to say. Come on, about 71 versus 75. 71 versus 75 in yellow and green. So 71 is 33, whereas 70, what was it? 5 is 39. So that one achieves the full target of the triangle. This one disappoints. So that one also achieves just the extension of one. The green one was about to achieve almost half of the golden pocket. The golden pocket is at 47. So, I'm more itchy to to get rid of this link now. That more than ever. We'll see. Let's go with the next one. Link fill. Let me know, guys, if you are enjoying the live stream. It's very good for me. I sometimes I feel a lot more motivation to do the TA with you guys when I know that you are around, and there's that pressure. I have to do it right, and it really helps me to do it better and to be less bullshitting. In TA there's a lot of bullshit as well. All right, so this one field is kind of coming down like this. Can you see the pattern? It kind of looks like a falling wedge. I mean, to be a falling wedge, it should be a little bit more like this. Maybe if I just consider that area, then you get a falling wedge somehow. So that supposedly is a bullish pattern, but I like these patterns to come from a handle. Like you are trading from here, you go here, and then you start flipping, and then you continue. This is a little bit like an anomaly because you had a rally, but that rally, the full rally, turned into a falling wedge. We are close to the support of 1.5, putting just new lows everywhere. The RSI is respecting these levels. So value there is at 36 RSI. Socials are as quiet as it gets. That's the lowest level in terms of social. No one is talking about it. Even less than January 2022. My God. Beginning of the bear market. There's been a flash of longs, and there might be a trend in here. Longs are coming in. It's been increasing, but now this has declined too sharply there in terms of longs. Let's see the horizontal pattern. So we took that low, we put a new low. So the most recent low is that one, and we're coming towards it with again another bearish pattern. Yeah, it doesn't look really great. After all this fall, you're just getting this downside in here. So the bear flag that I prefer to trade to the downside is when you do like this and you produce a channel, and then from here you take the short for continuation. But then you get these flags that are pointing down, which personally I prefer the one that points up to take the short from here, right? Because it shows weakness. It shows that it's putting a trap. When it goes lower, the flag, my bias is that they are trying to trap um, the shorts, because here people might enter a short, and then from that position of weakness they can move the price high, even do a dead cat bounce or do a V recovery, and they're trapping the people here. Yeah, so for the short I prefer this flag. So I call this one a bear flag in this kind of a neutral. Anyways, let's go with the next one. It didn't look good at all, Phil. TA on Ligma coin. Ligma. It's not listed on centralized exchanges. I guess there's only listing against Solana. What? Oh my God. This won the best coin of the day for doing TA. Right, that's the scene of the crime. It's been declining, momentum coming down. There was a bullish divergence, but no one cared. It just puked back down. There's another scene of the crime that got a visit there. You can see it. It came back to punish shorts. So that modus operandi applies to this coin. So in theory, you should be looking for another push into 88. But it's a very high risk, guys. It's not a trade that I would like to take. If you pass me the red bag and you enter at 47 and I'm forced to hold it or take profits, then I will say, okay, let's wait until one day we hit 86. but given the risk to reward, I wouldn't enter on this. Not in a million times. And CHR, I think CIS we already covered it if I'm right, but Chromia we haven't. Is it called Chromia? I think it's called Chromia. And there's been some TA I did in July, and I can see I had a little bit of wishful thinking going on in here, because we had the channel in here, descending, and I was saying if we can form this double bottom, then we had a chance to go to the top of the range, which could fail and form a lower double bottom, or could break out and go into 36. What did we do? We hit the resistance of 11 and we got rejected. So you were wrong. No, I was not wrong, because there was no breakout. The double bottom in here formed, and intra-candle was above, close was rejected. So there was no breakout, there was no confirmation of move up. And so if you enter at the lows and you place a break even when you hit resistance, which is my preferred method, then when this comes back and takes the entry price, you don't take a loss. You just wait patiently for the next formation of another double bottom or anything lower. But let's see if these lows are currently forming any bullish divergence. No, we don't have hidden, we don't have bullish. We just had one before, and it already went into resistance of 12. So with Chromia, in terms of momentum, up until here, everything looked perfect, but then we started putting lower low relative to that. So it's kind of the breakout turned into fake out. But let's remove this. Let's be a bit more forgiving. I'm going to place it like this. And I'm going to say that that is our next area of attention. What happens when we meet with 40? Do we hold that level and we produce, many coins are having this kind of behavior. They don't have enough steam to really go for the highs, but they do have enough to just form these wonky patterns. Let's call it like that. I don't know if YouTube is going to complain. But if it does that, well, so be it. It's kind of a consolidation breakout. And typically during this pattern, the price action even does some bearish to sideways price action. If it does that while you're doing this, you still have some hope to eventually get that breakout. Yeah. The bottom of the range is 14, but it's so far down. Look, it will be an all-time low. Hopefully we don't have to go there. Hopefully we don't need a double bottom here. Hopefully we find a way to put a bullish pattern in the same range of 10. Around 10, let's stay there. And for that, we need Bitcoin to hurry up and do some puke, hit 107, come back up into 110, and confirm that we're going to carry on higher in October, and then Chromia could do another bullish move. Next is Solana BTC. All right, someone wants a ratio. Solana versus BTC. I think I did in the previous Solana video yesterday against Ethereum, and I haven't done against Bitcoin. Right. Very interesting level there. We got that. Gosh. Let's do it again. We got that one there. This is an interesting one. It starts from around here, more or less aligned with that. And then you got this area that started from here. There you go. on the Z score, we are not great to be on Solana versus Bitcoin. It has already gone very far high. On the RSI, the breakout started from this day, and that is 7th of July. That's where you should have flipped from Bitcoin in Solana, according to this. So my thesis is that if Ethereum holds this level of 4,000 and starts a rally, I will expect then later Solana to, during the Ethereum rally, of course, Solana is going to step aside and become shy. But once Ethereum finds another top, the most recent one was 4.9, but let's say Ethereum goes to 6K next, then it starts ranging around there. It's going to allow for Solana to have its own rally, and even against Bitcoin. In the previous cycle, we got into these highs, and I cannot see them, the numbers. So just to give you some meaningful numbers, I'm going to multiply it so I can see some numbers on the right. But remember, I'm multiplying. So around 39 is the very high. And yeah, unfortunately, I lost all the lines. Anyways, so this was around here. So if this holds around here and it goes even to 17, and then you get the rally on Ethereum, that will be my preferred script for Solana later to rally against Ethereum. And doing the chart against BTC is perfectly fine, but I prefer to do it against Ethereum, and I do Ethereum against BTC. That way I can see the transitions in the right order. So I see Ethereum against BTC, and I prepare myself to be on Ethereum, and which I was doing, right? I was thinking, when is it going to be my Ethereum season? When am I going to distribute into 4 to 5K? And I repeat that for over a year. And I waited patiently until I sold the last bit of Ethereum. Then you sell this Ethereum, and then you look for a re-entry. If you don't get a re-entry, move on. Focus on lower cap coins that you want to distribute later, but don't get burned by buying too late. So we got just a move down at 3.8 on Ethereum. If we get a rejection and we go lower than that, I add a little bit more. But do not buy, please, Ethereum over 4.2. I'm talking in the context of swing trading, and it's already too late. Right. I hope that covers that. Let's see. I'm going to do the last one, ICP, and I'm going to call it, because I'm over time. ICP is going to be the last one. ICP. What's wrong here? Okay. Yeah, because it got listed so high that it squashes all the price action. Very similar to many other coins. And I can see that I was already pointing out at the neckline of 7 of this pattern. If we can come back there and build a pattern looking like this, so we can push into the resistance, but we are still being held by 5.8, and we put a close below 4.5, and we are now on another week on the lower end. There is an area of volume 4.1, but after that there is literally nothing, right? So there's just the final 2.8, and that's it. And what's going on with the momentum? Oh, look at this. This is really bad. I mean, it doesn't look good. I don't know if it's going to recover from here, but when you see something like this, I feel it's going to be more difficult that it recovers, because it attempt to reclaim this. So I think a bullish move from here, if we can use this, if we hold there, yeah, a move into that one, that resistance. There's been some coins that lost that level and then they did rallies. Some of them lost it and came back from there and did that. It's just very painful to watch. It's very painful to experience that kind of breakdown on the weekly. Hopefully, we can achieve the 46 and the 46 or to 48, more or less. I'm gonna tell you where it is in case we get a bounce in that direction. Let's put 46 to 48. That will be the first resistance. Let's activate. Yeah, that's just 5.2. Very 4.9 to 5.2. That's the range of that. Just to come back into the previous range. Hopefully to reclaim. If we can reclaim 5.1, that is good. But well, the final task in here is to put a close above 5.8. And it's looking like it might take a little bit of time, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can form something bullish in here, but I'm sorry, I cannot. I cannot so far. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the live stream. If you did, hit the like, subscribe, and write down comments. All of that always helps, and I'll see you on the next one. By the way, on Thursday, we do the same thing, but in a private elite live stream. You can join Patreon as an elite member, and then you get to choose whichever coin you want. Since it's a lot less people, sometimes there's just 3 people, sometimes there's just 20 people. Therefore, you get a lot more love, particularly if you want to ask me questions live, right? Because I get to read all the questions and all of that. So if you want more love, yeah, give us some love and join that. That will be amazing. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.